All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. SEC basketball reaction on a Thursday morning. We got predictions coming up after this for MVPs and legends for a big Saturday slate. We'll give our predictions for the three featured games. We'll get to those: Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Alabama. We're gonna, share our predictions live for those three games here in just a bit. But first, we got to recap the action we did not recap last night. If you missed it, we talked about Florida and Texas. Florida gets a 13-point win on the road. We also talked about Vanderbilt 88, Georgia 80. You can check that out in the other stream we did yesterday evening. But for now, Max, we got to talk about these other three games.
Yes.
The Hogs running hog wild in the second half. 62 points, the highest, maybe the highest scoring half of the year, I wonder. Unbelievable point totals put up in the second half in Fayetteville. Arkansas scored 62 points in the second half. A&M scored 56. So they played an entire SEC game from 6 years ago in the second half. And Alabama hit about 148 threes against Mississippi State. And then you said it. You said this was going to be the game of the night, and it was the game of the night.
Yep.
LSU wins a double overtime thriller in Oxford against Ole Miss. Yeah, pretty good stuff.
Pretty good stuff. I was right. It was great stuff. Hop out in, folks. Looking like some comments are coming in on my shirt. You can visit our friends at Ann Collar. Come on, look at that stretch. You can't get that stretch anywhere else, folks. We had a few 100 bombs last night. Almost had three. Yeah. Arkansas comes 1 point off at 99. No defense in this league. We play offense here. We score points. We win games by scoring points. Where do we want to start, Blake? Do we want to start with the 3-point barrage? Do we want to start with the overtime thriller? The Hogs going hog wild on A&M?
Well, it was just decided by the nation's weatherman. Josh is here with a $10 super chat. Another W for Arkansas. Time to drop them 20 spots in the net after that. Says he wishes basketball would stop being played on calculators. Arkansas is going to be fine. But yeah, the Hogs get a 99-84 win over Texas A&M. Yeah, it was a very high-scoring second half between those two teams. It was 37-28 at halftime, but lots of points put up. Of course, had a few free throws shot in that game as well. Arkansas went 29-33 from the free throw line. Billy the Kid does it again, 23 points in this game. He was tremendous. Darius Acuff, ho-hum, 22 points. 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. Just absurd for the SEC Player of the Year. Malique Ewin, very impactful game for him. 18 points, 9 rebounds, had 4 assists and 2 blocks. So a total team effort here for the Hogs. And, we kind of said this was one where if A&M was going to win, they needed to, A, shoot the ball well. They did not. 8 of 25, 32%. And B, force a lot of turnovers. Arkansas only turned it over 9 times, which I think is a win against that kind of team. Formula just did not work out too well for Texas A&M.
Yeah, they got it down to, I think, 4 at one point in the second half, but couldn't eat into the lead anymore. Darius Acuff at halftime, I think, was like, I'm going to get this wrong, guys. I don't have it right in front of me, but like 1 of 12. From the floor, maybe like a 2 of 11, something like that. He was not himself. And Calipari did come out in the post game and say, like, he could have taken a game off. He won't do it though. He probably should have one of these past few games taken a game off. But even if Cal himself says you're not playing, he says Darius is just going to laugh in his face and say, yeah, right, get me out there. So Acuff right now playing through some injury. It's clear he's playing through a little something there, and it still doesn't matter as he ends up with stuff the stat sheet. Final line. Cal also came out and said, "Hey, I don't like to put more pressure on a guy than he already has to, but why aren't we including Darius Acuff in the National Player of the Year conversation? Why isn't he with that group when they put on all the it's the big Monday game with the Big 12 or something, and you get Dickie V or Bill Raftery on the call or something, and they put up the graphics, and it'll be Boozer. DeBansa, Flemings. Why not Acuff? Why can't we get some national recognition here for Darius Acuff? He's going to win the SEC Player of the Year. So there was that. And then the other thing, Blake, was kind of that dynamic at the 5. 34 minutes for you and only 6 for Pringle. Cal did say, hey, we got to get Nick going a little bit more. And he will. They trust in Pringle that he'll pick it up a little bit here, but Ewin stepping up big time when the team needs him.
Another $10 super chat from Josh. Acuff's quote-unquote worst game of the year, and the man still put up 20+. That's the thing. Like, didn't have a great first half, still got to 22. And that was a big part of, again, Arkansas just reeled off a bunch of baskets once that thing got close. And says I think he's due for another 40 bomb on the road. Well, we'll see. But yeah, I think he's, again, still, like I said, he's still the SEC Player of the Year right now. And I don't know that that's going to change. But we'll see how that goes here down the stretch. But, I thought this was, for Arkansas, again, it's just kind of, we talked about Malique Ewin a lot. Like, he is someone who I think is just, you remember what our discussion was early in the season. Like, he's just played such a valuable role, I think, in the front court for this team. And, too, we don't talk a lot about, like, DJ Wagner very much just because of what Acuff and Thomas do on a regular basis. But, it is valuable to have someone like DJ Wagner who can come in and, kind of sometimes be a steady force and, make a couple baskets here or there, defensively do a few things. Like, I think that's, too, something that if they're going to make a run, obviously having him is significant, especially knowing, with Knox out and all that stuff. So, it was kind of what we expected. Keep in mind, too, Arkansas only had 2 points with like 14 minutes left in the first half. Like, A&M got out to a great start, and Arkansas still scored 99. Like, 97 points and whatever. It's just absurd. 34 minutes, basically. So, yeah, that's just kind of what they do. And they just got so many ways. And look, Billy the Kid, like we said, he's been as good as it gets over the past couple weeks now. 20 or more in 4 straight games. So, yeah, they just got it all together right now. And like we said, guys, I know they lost a game at Alabama, but I just don't know if there's anybody who came out of that game feeling anything but probably better about Arkansas. So since that Kentucky game, they have just turned it on, and here they are.
Billy Richmond last year only scored in double digits in 6 games total. He's got a 4-game, 20-point streak going right now. Cal said that he's been really practicing his perimeter shooting in practice. Anytime that Arkansas does a shooting drill or something, Billy does it twice. He's been really focusing on nailing that shot down, and you're seeing it translate. He's knocking down that extended mid-range shot there. You leave him open, he's been taking it and making it over the past 2 weeks. Little development for A&M in the lineup. Ruben Dominguez, their 6'6" wing, the shooter from Spain, started the season extremely hot, has cooled off here in SEC play, plays a season low 13 minutes, does not play a single minute in the second half. Would not be surprised if we see Zach Clemence grab his second start of the season in place for Ruben next time there. Just going through some conference play droughts here for Dominguez there, and his minutes are being impacted now.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a shock at all with Clemence. Coming off a 29-point game, and we mentioned some of those other games he's had. What was it, the South Carolina game, where he just went bombs away, 7 of 8 from 3 in 15 minutes or whatever. And it's kind of like, you can sort of play ping pong at times. Like, just, all right, this guy gets the opportunity, then this guy gets the opportunity. It just kind of depends on who's hot. But yeah, I think if we're looking at it from the A&M standpoint here, I don't know where exactly that loss puts them. We said they were already kind of right there on that bubble line. Maybe they're still in. Again, losing at Arkansas is not really going to hurt you that much. Maybe losing by 15 hurts you a little more. But I think, like we said, we were kind of projecting that loss anyway. So now it really comes down to these next 2 home games against Texas and Kentucky. I think they've got to win at least one of those. And the game at LSU to end the season is not going to be easy. So I think for them, I think it's kind of going to be something where, you got to win one of these next two. It's really as simple as that. And if you don't, then I think you're in a pretty tough spot heading into the SEC tournament. So
let's see what Torvik has their percent. Torvik still has them above a 90% chance to get an at-large, and that's updated this morning. But they're going to be...
I mean, they should be a home favorite against Texas, I think.
I was just going to go there. I was going to say
I don't know if they'll be a home favorite against Kentucky. Depends.
They'll probably be in both. They'll probably be they got 2.5 and a 1.5 point favorite. Ken Palm's got it by 3 and 2, and then on the road, pick them. That is as 3-game swing as it gets there.
Yeah. So their season's going to be decided here this upcoming week for sure. And Arkansas, of course, goes to Florida on Saturday. We're going to preview that game here in just a bit for our MVPs and legends, and then Arkansas returns home for Texas, then at Missouri to finish the season. Standings-wise, what does this mean? Well, right now you've got Arkansas and Alabama in the two-way tie in second. We all know who would get the tiebreaker there based on the head-to-head. But if Arkansas beats Florida, then you never know what could happen next week potentially, and unlikely, but it's at least still within range. Florida hasn't locked up the SEC regular season title just yet. So there you have it. All right. On to the next here. We'll go to the Tide, and shout out to Hunt, by the way, new member here at the channel. Shout out. So going to get in on some exciting stuff for our MVPs and legends, perhaps. All right. Mike is here. $2 super chat. The Tide win. Calls Bucky a fraud. Great night. So at least, it's like at this point, people just, at least we know when they come in. They're going to stick to their narrative no matter what, right? It's a long-running theme here with Micah. But, yes, the Tide do win. And they win at 100-75 against Mississippi State. If you want to go back and watch our reaction live as we're just watching Alabama just knock down 3 after 3 after 3 last night as we're recapping those other two games, you can. They finish 22 of 50 from 3. 22 of 50 from 3. The funny thing is Mississippi State went 15 of 41. But, of course, they're just having to throw up any shot they can possibly throw up at that point. And so, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I said it last night I just think I still believe that Alabama has a ridiculous upside that I don't know that any other SEC team has, and I'm including Florida in that, not because I don't think Florida can make the Final Four and or win the national championship, but I mean Alabama just has a different type of upside, meaning if they do stuff like this, and I know people say, well, they only do it against the bad teams. We heard that last night. That's nonsense. Guys, they're putting up points against everybody. They're just on an absolute tear offensively. And they had no Labaron Philon in this game. And again, I think when you're looking at the paths for, let's say, Florida to get back to the national championship and Alabama to get back to a Final Four, they're different ways that they're going to get there. But there's no one out there to me that is Alabama-esque in their ability to just go out and say, we're just simply going to come out and shoot a gazillion threes. We're going to make 22 of them, and you have no shot to beat us. And like I said, they're playing without their best player. They had 79 points with 15 minutes left in the second half. 79 points. So, yeah, that's just absurd.
So this is the second game without Philon this year. The first game, they put up 102 against Yale. Do you remember how many threes they made in that game?
No,
22. They went 22 of 54 in that game. They are, with 2 games this year without Philon, both of them, they've made 22 three-pointers. That's 44 threes in 2 games without Philon. Nate Oates was joking in the press conference that he should just sit Philon more so we make 22 threes a game. I'm not sure that's how it works, but he had a good laugh out of it. You're watching this game in the first half, and it's not like all those threes were wide open. I mean, they're deep. They're catching quick catch and shoot.
Yeah. Like contested deep threes that like no one's it's just that's what they do, man. And I know like people are and I know like sometimes we're just incapable here of giving any other team a compliment, guys. But if you're watching this game last night and you're not impressed with a team that hits 22 threes, I'm not saying they're going to do it against every team. But I mean, they've won 7 in a row. They've scored 100, 90, 117, 89, 93, 96, 100. I mean, again, I realize they're not going to hit 22 against everybody, but I mean, come on. It's ridiculous.
Jamarian Davis Fleming for Mississippi State with one of the better bully ball stat lines of the midweek. He plays 30 minutes, doesn't attempt a single shot, and has 10 rebounds. It's called knowing your role right there. For Mississippi State, King Grace picked up a little bit of an injury. He was their second leading scorer with 13. He had been playing a little bit more here in conference play. Jans didn't have an update on him. And then Jaden Epps, he finishes with 28 minutes, only 8 points. Jan said he didn't even think he was going to be able to play. Said he picked up an injury a few days ago, and in the past 2 kind of shoot-arounds in practice, Epps really wasn't moving well. And so Jans actually said he was pretty surprised that Epps was able to go. So, I mean, hey, every team's going to have bumps and bruises at this point in the year, but Mississippi State, they're dealing with a few in the backcourt. But speaking of backcourts, one other thing I wanted to mention was Jalil Bethea. Oates kind of highlighted him in the pregame, saying that he liked his length and athleticism defensively, someone to throw at Josh Hubbard. And Bethea ends up getting 20 minutes. That was the most minutes he'd played since Mississippi State the last time on January 13th. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that. I mean, Alabama just took it to them. What else do we add? Anything else you want to add here? I mean, I don't. If you watch the game, you saw a team at 22 threes and win by 25.
Yeah, just one last thing. Enjoy Amari Allen for the next few games, because that's the last few games of Amari Allen you're going to get. This guy, I think on the last No Ceilings mock draft was like right outside the top 20, and that was about 3 weeks ago. This guy's a top 20 NBA pick.
Yeah. He's pretty good. All right.
He's all right.
Alabama goes to Tennessee on Saturday. We'll give our pick for that one here in just a bit. And yeah, then they go to Georgia next Tuesday, home against Auburn. So 7-game winning streak now for the Tide. And they are sitting pretty, I would say, in terms of the seeding and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Mississippi State, meanwhile, if you're curious, I mean, the thing is, like, we finally have a little bit of separation in the bottom half of the SEC standings. I was putting this together last night. I'm like, wait a minute. You got only one team at 8-7, one team at 7-8, one team at 6-9, one team at 5-10, one team at 4-11, and then of course,
there we go.
The other teams are all 3-12. So that makes the perhaps the SEC tournament seeding a little bit easier next week, but we'll see. All right, Alabama, as we said, 11-4, have the tiebreaker over Arkansas. They'd be the 2 seed today if the tournament started. All right, speaking of teams at the bottom. Let's quickly share some thoughts on the game of the night. 106-99, LSU wins in double overtime at Ole Miss. If you're an Ole Miss fan, this was about as frustrating as it gets based on how this game played out. I think Ole Miss was up 8 deep into the second half, and you thought they were about to kind of pull away a little bit, but it just seemed like every single time, like LSU just sort of had an answer. We were talking about Max McKinnon last night. We were doing the reaction show. I was like, oh, this guy's off to a great start. Was playing really well, and he winds up with 34 points in this game. And that's kind of what it had to be. I mean, he took a lot of shots, but like it just became the point where you're like, hey, get the ball to Max McKinnon, let him do his thing. But LSU also got a lot of scoring elsewhere. 5 other players in double figures in this game. Of course, you had to get to 106 somehow, right? But I thought this was the one. As I'm watching this and I'm just looking at Ole Miss, I'm like, okay, finally. Like something's going to go Ole Miss's way. And I'm just, again, I'm like, they're about to pull away with this game. And it just did not happen. And you kind of felt it once it got to overtime. You're just kind of like, I just get the sense that, remember what I said in the preview? I'm like, I just think sometimes it's a team that just, you cannot figure out how to win. And they have kind of lost so many games here that when you get in those kind of scenarios, how can we make that one play to win this game, to finally have some sort of relief here? And they just could not get it done for Ole Miss. And again, credit to LSU for a lot of big plays that they made to win this game. But, man, did you ever think we'd be sitting here talking about Ole Miss on a 10-game losing streak in SEC play? My goodness.
No, I did not, but here we are. And you got the feeling when that thing goes to overtime, yes, Ole Miss struggles to score at times, but Mike Nwoko had fouled out. So you're thinking like, okay, Ole Miss here's got a chance. No Mike Nwoko at home here in overtime, got a chance. They went up by 4 at one point in overtime. Couldn't get a stop. And then how about Robert Miller with some big-time blocks down the stretch too, protecting the rim. He was a difference maker in the last 2 periods there. Cameron, 10 assists, 0 turnovers. He played a really nice game, but still took some tough running fall away floaters in overtime. I'm just like, that's a bad shot. I felt like LSU was getting the better shots in overtime. Jalen Reese, I've been singing this guy's praises, stepping in for Thomas. 10 assists, only 1 turnover. He doesn't do anything flashy, but you can't leave him open. 50% from 3 of 6. This Jalen Reese kid, he started the last 4 games, and he's played 40 minutes, 37, 39, 47. He scored in double figures in all of them, and he's had an insane assist-to-turnover ratio. This guy's really good. From freshman from Orlando, Florida, whoever, if you mentioned the Borzello post about the coaching, I mean, just look at the foundation here for LSU coming back next year. If they're able to return everybody, I mean, you got Dean Thomas and Jalen Reese. You've got Mozzie Mosley. You've got Jalen Reed. You've got Mike Nwoko, Robert Miller. You almost have a full starting lineup already. I don't know. Could be a big momentum win and kind of just in general for Matt McMahon there. Another overtime win.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the season hasn't gone how they wanted it to, of course, but that was kind of my thing is I'm like, they've been right there hovering around in a lot of these games, it feels like recently. Sure, you've had the ones like Arkansas that, did not go their way and, other games that have, kind of gotten out of hand a little bit, but you just felt like, I thought there was a sense that as bad as things had been going for Ole Miss, I'm just like, man, I could see LSU going in there and winning this. And, that was like you mentioned the way it started to play out in overtime. I'm just like, yeah, okay, maybe not. But I think getting it to overtime, like it is that all that momentum you feel like is in the hands of the team that it's like it was desperation mode to even get it there. And that was LSU. And like you said, they just kept finding ways to make shots. And that was the story here. So, yeah, very disappointing loss for Ole Miss. There's no question about it, but who knows what that maybe does for LSU. They host Oklahoma on Saturday. Could they post back-to-back wins for the first time in SEC play? Perhaps. And then, guess what? LSU gets the chance to play the spoiler next week. They're at Auburn. They're home against Texas A&M. They could completely obliterate either one of those teams' NCAA tournament chances by winning that game, I think.
Yes.
So that is the role that LSU will be in. Ole Miss could try to do the same thing on Saturday when they go to Auburn in what is a must-win game for the Tigers. And then next week they finish up with 2 home games against Vanderbilt and South Carolina. I don't think those games will have a lot of ramifications either way. So, yeah, that was that. So, all right. There you have it. By the way, 3-way tie between LSU, Ole Miss, and South Carolina right now. If anyone is just curious about the tiebreakers, I believe, what's the best win of that group? LSU beat Missouri, Ole Miss. Also, well, they beat Georgia. But I guess it's also the record between the three teams right now. And I think LSU would have the tiebreaker in that because they have a win against South Carolina and against Ole Miss. Even though they lost to South Carolina, they're 2-1. South Carolina would be 1-1 because they haven't played Ole Miss yet. So if you're just curious, Ole Miss would be the 16 seed as of today. Which is, again, not something
it's
we
just
would have
shocking
expected.
based on preseason expectations.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. That's all. Let me make sure I do some ad reads real quick. I may have forgot to do that last night. A&D, collar.com. There's a shirt on the screen right now, straight from our friends at And Collar. Check it out. Performance menswear brand. They invented the Workleisure. I look at the screen. I see Workleisure everywhere here. And, yeah, of course, they got the polos, the button-ups, the quarter zips, the pants, you name it. Stretchy. Affordable. Looks affordable. Makes you look good. Come on. Max Barr looking great over there right now. SEC16 for 16% off over at andcollar.com, andcollar.com. Also, check out our friends at ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting, SEC25, get you 25% off your entire order over at ROKFORM. Go get these cases, man. They're incredible. If you haven't done it by now, you've heard me read this ad 642 times this season. What are you waiting for? Head over to ROKFORM, 25% off SEC25 over at ROKFORM. And our new friends at Icon Wallets, the best of the best, officially licensed collegiate wallets, premium Napa leather. They got the 3 interchangeable university icons. So if you want to represent multiple teams, you can do that. Be a bandwagon fan over at Icon Wallets. Use the code SEC16 for, hold on a second, make sure I got the code right. Hold on 1 second, folks. Do not put the code in yet. I may have the code wrong. I have it somewhere. It is on this sheet. As soon as I find this sheet, it will be on there. And it is on this sheet, SEC16 for 20% off over at Icon Wallets. Boy, that was simple. You're going to remember all that. There you have it. All right. Some super chats here. Shout out to Razorback Pride, who is now a member here at the channel. We appreciate that. Tremendous stuff. Joining in with a little pride for the Razorbacks. What more could you want? Josh, $10 super chat to rile up some Alabama fans, saying that there should be zero debate. Acuff's the SEC Player of the Year, and all that good stuff. We appreciate that. Phil enjoyed the Road Warriors bit we had last night. Max was having a good time with the Road Warriors, so that was good. We got a little banter going on in the chat right now. Florida and Arkansas fans, they're riled up. They're ready to play this game right now.
Big game.
It's a big game. Big game in Gainesville. We're going to make our picks. Can't win either way there. Big Getter EJ, $5 super chat. I realize there's a long way to go, but fun fact, head coaching winning percentage at Florida. Billy Donovan, 71.5%, 467 and 186. Todd Golden, 71.5%, 98 and 39. Look at that. Could be telling us something about back-to-back here for the Gators. So, you're telling me the Gators could go back-to-back. Is that what you're saying?
All right.
So, by the way, updated odds. Michigan plus 380. Duke plus 420. Arizona plus 500. Florida plus 1,000. Those are your top 4 national title odds over FanDuel right now. Conference winners. They're off the board. Sorry. You can't pick anyone other than Florida. Because why would you right this second? Miami of Ohio's undefeated conference regular season odds. Minus 148, yes. Plus 112, no.
Wow.
So, there you go. All right.
Just to update real quick on kind of the bubble watch, what happened last night. San Diego State, they picked up a big-time win over Utah State by 17. San Diego State now is inching right on that line. They were the 6th team out, I think, on Bracket Matrix before that game. So San Diego State now 100% in that picture. Another team that was in the first 6 out, Cal, They pick up
Who'd
a
they
big
beat?
win against SMU. So now
Oh,
Cal
that's a shame.
inches closer to the bubble. That's another
That's a
team
shame.
moving on in there. But we did have Ohio State, who was the last team out, first team out, I mean, closest to the field. They got crushed by Iowa. So no John Mobley. It might not impact them as much, but Ohio State inching away from the bubble with that loss. If you are an SEC team projected to be a 5 seed, South Florida won by 20 last night and looked incredible. Belmont won by 34 and looked even more incredible. Get off that 5 line. Get off that 5 line. You got nothing to do with Belmont and South Florida right now. And then there was one more result on the bubble that I had noticed, and I cannot find it right now. That is okay. It'll come to me. But yeah, that was your Villanova as a 8 or 7 seed. They picked up a big time win. They're not going anywhere close to that bubble. But here's your results from last night.
Yeah. So I think the SEC is still okay for now, but the teams to really keep an eye on, to me, are Missouri and Auburn right now, because of what their schedule looks like upcoming. Remember, Auburn has a lot to lose these next 2 games against Ole Miss and LSU. Have to win both of those, in my opinion. Missouri, yes, picked up nicely with the Tennessee win, but they could easily give that back with a loss at Mississippi State or Oklahoma. And that's where, I just think these next 2 games are going to be very difficult for Missouri. I saw what happened last night with Mississippi State, well aware, but I think that is a tough spot. And I also think going to Oklahoma next Tuesday is a tough spot. So I think those are the 2 teams to circle right now. If you're asking about A&M, I think A&M, as long as they win one of these next 2, I think they're going to be okay. But, we'll see. Those are 2 tough games against Texas and Kentucky. You don't win games on paper, so they got to win one of those. And then, for Texas, we said, they were a little bit maybe further down than we would have expected. And their remaining schedule is not easy. At A&M, at Arkansas, then home against Oklahoma. So I think for their combination, they've got to win the Oklahoma game. And it just depends, I guess, on what happens around them with the other 2. I don't think you want to go on the road and lose by 15 in those 2 games and feel anywhere near comfortable if that happens. So if they win one of these next 2, I think Texas will get in and feel pretty good, probably even out of Dayton, I would think. But lose both the road games, things start to get a little more interesting maybe for the Longhorns, our Final Four picks. So
how intense is that game on Saturday between the Longhorns and the Aggies going to be? Holy smokes. Rematch from a 4-point game earlier in the year. Both teams playing for their season potentially. Whew.
Big game.
Yeah.
So we'll have it covered when we do our picks for that game. Will not be today, I don't think. We're just going to do our featured games and our SEC predictions live coming up here in a few minutes. So we will get to those at some point before Saturday. And yes, it will be a busy couple of days here as we make our picks for these featured games on Saturday and other games with huge ramifications. Plus, we got a national game or 2 we're going to throw into the mix this weekend, as we also usually do these days, because next week it will be March. And there you have it.
What a line.
My goodness.
It's been a great farch.
It has been a great farch. It's been a great farch.
Yeah.
Josh with $10 super chat. Don't care who the Hogs play. They're going to win by 50 this Saturday. Well, we'll see if either one of us are going to predict a 50-point win for Arkansas on Saturday.
Go on.
Also, just taking shots at Boogie here. $10 super chat. My goodness, Josh. Unbelievable.
Man, I don't want to talk too much before the big game.
I'll tell you, the winds are picking up here in the chat. Got a easterly flow around 20 miles an hour. All right. We're going to hop off. Kind of a shorter show today, but we do have to get to the predictions. Plenty to discuss. We'll give you 2 minutes here. If you want to throw in a super chat, something like that, you can. Any other quick questions, comments, throw them on in. And, we're going to go over right now, and I'll drop the link as usual to our membership here. If you want to join, hit that join button, and you can become an MVP, a legend, or simply support the channel. Supporter, hey, we're perfectly fine with that too. But if you want to get in on the bonus content, add a couple extra dollars and jump on up to that MVP or legend tier. So there you go.
Big one tonight outside the SEC. It's kind of you'll probably get a standalone blah 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 game tweet from John Rothstein tonight, 8:00 Eastern on Peacock. Get this Peacock crap out of here. I can't stand it. But Michigan State at Purdue. Huge ramifications for teams like Florida, potentially Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, or Vanderbilt. If one of them were to go on a run and sneak up to that 4-3 line, right now Michigan State is on Bracket Matrix the top 4, and Purdue is the second to last 2. So result tonight could impact some SEC teams at the top of the league.
Check those out. Also, baseball coming up here in just a bit.
Yes.
The guys will have their predictions for the weekend action after a wild midweek in SEC baseball. Not maybe to the positive. Some upset wins for the teams coming into SEC territory, picking up some victories. So that happened. But
Josh is on one this morning.
$10 super chat. You got to know it's the Southwest hog flow here.
Yep.
Temperatures warming up for the Hawks. And Acuff, the Gators, will be ice cold with that polar Acuff vortex. We got to get a segment here at some point where we got Josh doing like the weather reports for every SEC team. I think that would be pure gold. I think we need that. So that's what I think.
What happened out there? It was a Acuff vortex. There was nothing we could do.
The Acuff vortex kicked in. So,
I love it.
My. All right.
Good
We
stuff.
appreciate you guys. We're heading over to the predictions.
Yes.
Jump on over if you're an MVP or legend. We're going to share our thoughts on Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Tennessee, Alabama right now. So head over there, join us, give us your score predictions, interact with us live, all that good stuff. We'll see you over there in a few. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.